statement and find out what is the business mix of the branch. 15 minutes. Okay. Now rating given by the internal auditors. If you look at the branch internal audit report, you can find out a rating given by the internal auditors. The rating given by the internal auditors, if you look at, there are two types of branch internal audits. One is the risk-based internal audit as well as the other audit. So in the case of RBIA, you will have a rating which will indicate you the trend of the risk involved in the branch. The trend of the risk involved in the branch. So it is stable and negative, or negative and stable, or it will be positive and increasing, or negative and increasing. So if you take these two terminologies together, you will be able to read whether the branch is going from bad to worse or worse to bad. So according to the rating, you should be able to understand the risk perception at the branch level. Now coming to the specialization of the branch activity. Again, the branches are being split according to the nature, character of the business to be done at the branch level. It is an overseas branch, it can be a SSI branch, it can be an NRI branch, it can be a Forex branch, it can be an industrial finance branch, it can be a mid-corporate branch, it can be a large corporate bank. So the branch nature is depicted in the name of the branch itself. In the case of an industrial finance branch, no SB account is entertained. If you are going to open an SB account with 100 crores of rupees, they will say that no sir, we are not supposed to take it. If you go for a car loan, they will say that no sir, we are not able to take any personal loans. We can only take corporate loans. If you go to a mid-corporate bank and ask for a loan below 20 crores, they will say no. So, you will be able to fine-tune your checks and balances on the basis of the character of the branch as specialization, NRI branch or overseas branch, etc., and fine-tune your checks and balances. I would like to narrate only one particular branch, that is a ARM branch, that is Asset Recovery Management branch. So ARM branch will have only NPS, nothing other than that. Their only duty is to recover NPS. Asset recovery management. You don't have to look into the deposit ratio, credit ratio, or the interest applied in the SB accounts, or fixed deposits, premature withdrawal of the fixed deposits. Nothing is there. Only I would say it is a mortuary. It is only NPS. So what is happening is that we should be only looking at NPS, nothing other than that, in and out NPS. So concurrent audit report. The concurrent audit report for the month of March, as per the external guidelines given by all the banks, should have been submitted by 10th of April. Please insist at the pre-audit level itself, or even communicate or even speak to the concurrent auditor, your own brethren in the profession, to submit the March report by 10th of April so that you will be able to get a clear picture about the risk perception of the branch as a whole. Now coming to the audit planning, I have already told you the branch character, whether it is IFB branch, whether it is large corporate, mid-corporate, etc., has to be identified to find out what is a program which is going to be given to the branch. Then the concurrent audit, RBI audit, internal audit, etc., has to be seen before you jot down the major areas of weaknesses which has been pointed out by the concurrent auditors. Jot down the points which are major areas of weakness which has been pointed out by the Reserve Bank auditors, revenue auditors. All these things you have to jot down before you go to the final audit so that you will be able to get a clear picture about what is a focus, the focus area, and you will be able to have a perfect division of labor between your own crew. Who is to verify what? Whether the senior has to verify this, whether the junior has to verify this, assistant has to verify this, what is to be documented and what is not to be documented. Same is the case with your things which are being handled by the central office. If you look at for the audit fees, it has been given in the final master's, circular itself, that some of the things will be dealt at only at the head office. I would like to only mention one point in respect to the fixed assets. Some of the banks have got a system of decentralization of fixed assets, and the fixed asset statements and the depreciation statement is certified at the branch level by the branch auditor. Some of the banks have got a system of centralization of fixed assets where the entire fixed assets portfolio is centralized. So you don't have to look at anything except in the case of additions, modifications, and AS28, that is impairment of the asset. Whether the reporting of the additions and modifications of the assets is being properly reported to the controlling authority, and whether there is any asset which has been put to use lying in the suspense account as a debit balance pending sanction from the higher authorities. Very important. What will happen is that there will be a computer, the branch would have been totally furnished and refurbished, a huge amount would have been spent, but it will be lying in the suspense account without capitalization, and we will be losing depreciation on account of that, we will be losing income tax on account of that, but it is not capitalized. We shares a true and fair view of the assets of the company, but it is lying in the suspense account because the administrative sanction for capitalizing this particular thing has not been received at the branch level. So see the suspense account, see whether any asset is to be capitalized or not. Same is the case of restructuring provisioning as well as standard asset provisioning. In respect of restructured assets and standard asset provisioning, what the branch auditor is expected to do is only the classifications. The standard assets classification is to be done at the branch level. Whether it is a primary sector, priority sector loan, agricultural loan, having a different provision of standard assets at the office level. Whether it is a housing loan, different rate of standard asset provision. Whether it is a housing loan given at teaser rates, different treatment of provisioning at the head office level. Whether the standard assets itself is a commercial real estate exposure or whether it is a capital market exposure. All these bifurcations are certified by the branch auditors, but please bestow your interest in respect of and the attention in respect of classification of the standard assets and in respect of restructured assets. In respect of restructured assets, the Reserve Bank of India has said that from 1/7/2013, the restructured assets should carry a provision of 5%. Every standard restructured asset should have a provision of 5% from 1/7/2013. That means any restructured asset from 1/7/2013 should carry 5%, and progressively whatever is the asset backlog as on 1/7/2013 should be made to 5% as on 31st March 2016. So 3 years are given for the purpose of incremental provisioning every year for the purpose of the restructured assets, so that up to 31st July 2013, whatever is the restructured assets which is carrying a provision of only 2.75%, it should be progressively increased to 2.75 plus 0.75, 3.5, 3.5 to 0.75, 4.25, and 4.25 plus 0.75, 5% by 2016. So this particular classification of restructuring date is done at the branch level and certified by the branch auditors. All the database is available in the central office. When it is a certification given by the branch auditor, please you will have to bestow your attention there. And audit fee, income tax, etc. will be done at the head office except for the TDS factor which you are going to certify in the tax audit. Now the closing circulars of the banks. Every bank will issue a closing circular. So 31st March, before you go for the branch audit, please insist for the closing circular and keep a copy of the closing circular in your file. I would say as a part of documentation, please keep a copy of the closing circular in the file and see the audited accounts of the previous year of the bank. Find out what are the audit policy, accounting policies. What are the notes forming parts of accounts? What are the qualifications given by the statutory auditors? And vis-a-vis, look at the closing circulars and find out whether there is any inconsistencies with respect to that. We have found out a lot of inconsistencies. I would say at the global level we have found out that the inconsistencies with respect to some of interpretation issues of the Reserve Bank of India, intention and the spirits of the CDR cases. So what I would say is that you will be able to apply your mind and even enlighten. We have received enlightening notes from these branch statutory auditors stating that this is not in consonance with the accounting standard. The accounting policy of the bank is not in consonance with the accounting standard. So that is an eye-opener to the standard statutory auditor also. So these type of things you will be able to give a better insight. Please have a copy as a part of documentation. Then the accounting policies of the bank, as I have told you, then reports of the other auditors. If the concurrent audit report is going to be used by you, the relevant portions, experts of the concurrent audit has to be taken a photocopy and keep it in your file and see what action you have taken in the concurrent audit reports. Then RBI Master Circular on Prudential Norms issued on 1/7/2013. You all know that every July 1st, the Reserve Bank of India comes out with the circular on the Prudential Norms on 1/7/2013, and that is a master circular for the purpose of the provisioning on 2013-14, except in the case of some of the circulars which has come in respect of restructured assets at the global level in December and January, which may not be a much important aspect at the branch level, but even then I would like to please visit those circulars also. Then impact of the latest reports in the news media. There are a lot of news media which is going to give us inputs. What is happening in respect to the coal scam? The moment you open the paper, you find that in the coal scam, a new company is listed, a new company is being targeted, a new company is being included in the coal scam by the CBI. Then immediately find out whether the exposure of the bank is there in the new company or not. We have found out. We have found out cases where morning when we went for the audit, just like with opening the economic test, we found that this particular company is also inducted in the list of the coal scam cases. We have found that the branch has given around 300 crores to that particular borrower. So what will happen to the asset quality in respect of those things? Now coming to the approach, discuss with the branch manager. Have a very plain discussion with the branch manager. Or if the branch manager is not able to give you the correct explanation, call the person who is able to give you the explanation in respect to the branch for the year 2013-14. Please discuss with him for 15 minutes to know about the client, knowledge of the business of the client. The standard of auditing practices says that you should be able to have a knowledge of the business of the client. So when you are going to audit for 2013-14, you should have to have a clear picture about what are the major things which has happened in the branch. We have found out that while we were going to discuss about this particular thing, we found that in Dhulia branch, the branch of a very important nationalized bank, on 25th March of the previous year, the branch got totally met with a fire accident. So the entire branch was shifted to a shop in a mandi, a 300 square feet shop. And what will happen to the data security? What will happen to the and entire things are connected to the CBS. This 200 square feet shop is being temporarily shifted, and the administrative sanction for shifting the branch to the main premises has not been received for 1 year. Imagine the risk perception. The risk perception involved in respect of this particular happening at the branch level is so huge. You are opening your CBS database to a particular, some loose wires here and there, and the notes in the same shop room, when every customer is exposed to the system. Now prepare a checklist. This is a part of your documentation. Please prepare a checklist as to what are the things I have to do, what are the things I should not do, and on the basis of the experience itself, prepare a checklist before you go itself. Issue a letter of clarification. When we speak about the pressure on the time from the regional audit, pressure on the time from the central auditors, pressure on the time from the branch management, just document and give a letter of clarification in respect of certain things to the branch management with a copy to the regional office. And if it is not replied, you can take shelter on that, saying that I have not got a reply in writing in respect to the clarifications I have asked, so I will not be able to complete the audit unless otherwise a reply is given. So writing makes a lot of difference. If you ask the branch manager to fill up the LFAR, there is a column whether there is any fraud which has taken place in the branch during 2013-14. He says that absolutely no fraud. What is a fraud? We are all very good people. How can I expect you to do we to do a fraud in the branch? Whether any customer fraud? No sir, all customers are very good. Any other fraud in the cash in transit? No, nothing has happened. Sir, please give me in writing. When you ask him to give it in writing, immediately he will call the accountant. The check fraud which has happened last year, whether it is to be included in this or not. Then the accountant will say that it is not the check fraud, sir, that the ATM fraud is to be included. So what will happen is that at the end of the day, when you ask him to give it in writing, at least 10 fraud would have come to picture. So the documentation, the importance and the power of documentation, please try to understand. So in respect of those things in our bank audit, our books which has been released, guidance not on bank audit, there is an appendix which gives you the engagement letter, audit engagement letter. Some of the banks are not signing, but get it done by a staple. If the audit engagement letter is not signed and given to you, you can communicate to them. This is the audit engagement letter that I am throwing it to you. If you are having any difference of opinion, please come back to me. That means that it is accepted, impliedly accepted. Why do you want his signature? Some of the branch auditors were complaining at the Central Statutory Audit meeting that when we ask for the engagement letter, when we ask for the management representation, the branches are not giving. Regional officer is calling, stating that none of the branch auditors have asked for this. Why do you want this? Etc. etc. No, I don't want it. You throw it up. You say that this is the management representation relying on which I have done my audit. If you have any difference of opinion, please communicate. Give it. That is the end of it. Okay, 5 minutes. So now, okay. Data flow and input flow. As I told you earlier, it is a data flow which is more important. Observe failures in the system. Major failures in the system. There are cases where the CBS itself has failed, which has given very drastically absurd figures in the balance sheet of the banks. I have got a case where when the CBS failed for 2 days in one of the major banks, the total clearing system failed, and one of our customers in Alapi has got a credit of 551 crores. He was totally astonished. The windfall came. He thought that some lottery has come to him. Immediately he is planned for this expenditure, and when he went to the bank, it is withdrawn. That's why it is a CBS mistake. So these type of errors come because of the system errors at the end of the day. Now coming to the process, all audit reports mentioned in this thing has to be done. Get the username. I am only trying to give you the emphasis on the important aspects. That is, your username, you should never allow your assistants to use the password and the user ID of the bank employees. Please don't do it. For convenience, they will say that, sir, I believe you can use my password, do it. There are assistants who are into trouble. In concurrent audit, the disciplinary cases, I think Falgunubha will be able to vouch for me. Disciplinary cases is that the system is misused by the concurrent auditors. I have given my password, or I have not given my password, but we used it, we will not be able to establish. So please ask them to give an audit module. Every audit CBS platform has got an audit module which gives read-only access to the auditors. The read-only access is given in any field of the CBS. So if you get that, you ask them to give a password initially, change the password till the time the audit is over, you will have, at the worst of the situation, at least if the concurrent auditors have a password, you use the concurrent auditor's password for the purpose of your audit for the time being, or you insist for that within 1 day or even 2 days, or even an hour of matter of hour. In some of the banks, branch managers are given new privileges of adding new user IDs in audit module. Now you can select large advances of 5%, get list of NPAs. Let the branch manager speak of himself. Get the list of NPAs from the branch manager. Verify it whether it is sufficiently covering the 5% or 2 crores of advances, whichever is less, as far as the branch is concerned, and make your audit program accordingly. Potential NPAs just escaped during the end of the year. Take the watch list account and find out whether the potential NPAs, and you have to get the certifications intact. Now coming to the verification of figures depicted in the balance sheet, very important. Practically what happens is that at the end of the day when the audit is over, he will bring all the balance sheet and a bunch of paper to be signed by you, but if you look at this particular printout, it will not have any relation to what you have verified. You will not be able to, so you should have a clear control about what that you are signing, the printout. I tell you that a particular branch has given 5 copies of the balance sheets, one to the regional office, one to the branch, one to the central statutory auditors, and 2 are same and 1 is different. And when we went to the region, it found that it has been printed from 2 notes. So one note has given a balance sheet which is not adjusting the entries, closing entries, and one note has given the correct balance sheet which is verified by the auditor. All the 3 has been signed by the branch auditor. You will not be able to get time because every thing is system printed. So please see that whatever you are signing is what you are verifying. So it is a physical verification we have to do. The totals of the balance sheet. The key figures, you have to keep it in mind. The totals of the balance sheet, the total NPA figure, the NPA ratio, the profit of the bank, the head office interest of the branch. All these things around 5-6 figures, keep it on hand when you are going to sign. And if these 5-6 figures are almost tallying, then you can take it for granted that it is there. Then security valuation, scrutiny of the advanced statements and figures that will be done by the advanced auditor, ensuring compliance with the accounting principles and standards. In many cases we have found that the basic principle of accounting has not been followed at the branch level. They will create an outstanding expenses as on 31st March 2012, and when the expenditure comes again, the expenditure is debited without squaring of the provision which has been created in the earlier year. Every month they will create the outstanding provision. The provision will be mounting on like anything. At the end of the day, 31st March, when you ask for the outstanding expenditure list, he will give you one more list. And when you go to the ledger, you find that all the provisions which has been created in the earlier months has not been reversed, with which what will happen? Your duplication of the expenditure is being booked. So this accounting principle is very important. Then obtain a password and verify the audit menu. We should verify the audit menu. And there are a lot of audit menus which are available for the purpose of audit. In all the banks there is an audit menu. And the reports available in the audit menu which is handy for the purpose of the audit. Please take a copy of almost all the reports which is coming in the audit menu and verify that particular response thoroughly and ensure the validity system, see whether the address interface issues I have already told you. Now coming to the planning under computer environment, read the menu options, flag the menus applicable for the purpose of audit. When you go through the menu, immediately flag it out in the pre-audit stage itself. Browse through the menu to satisfy the output. I told you the input-output relationship, whether there is a manual intervention in between. Now about the MI softwares. In every software, there is a corresponding report software. If you take the case of Finacle, you have got a reporting software in Bank of India, it is called Crown, Garuda. These are all the reporting softwares. And in the case of Punjab National Bank, it is called the Ladder. So it will be called in different names, but there is a parallel reporting software which has nothing to do with the operations. So there is an operation software, there is an operation system as well as a reporting system. So you should be able to know which is the reporting system. So the reporting system will be more important for you for the purpose of audit than the operation system because it is the domain of the branch management. Audit documentation. All these things are to be kept in our file. I would take only 1 minute to explain you that if you are going to take copies of the accounts you have verified, all the loan accounts you have verified, please take a printout for 1 year or at least for the last quarter, 90 days, and keep it on your file so that you will be able to and give any recommendation, whatever remarks, whatever you make or whatever the observation you have made in that particular thing, scribble it in that particular account copy itself. That is going to save you. Take the printouts of all the accounts which you have verified. Don't worry. You have to take all the copies of the printouts, whether it is 1 year or 3 months or even 60 days as the case may be. I leave it to the practical wisdom of the chartered accountants. So please take the copies of all these things, scribble it down, what are you verified, what is the judgment, what are the documents available, attach all the documents along with that, keep it in a file and arrange the file in the proper form so that you will be able to see that your due diligence is proved at the time when it is asked. Now, statements of the year under audit, EOD report, all these reports, whatever is there, I will throw open this particular slide to all of you so that you will be able to take copies of, hard copies of these and file it in your system. File it in your file, you entrust a single assistant only for the purpose of filing. That is going to save us. It is not the branch audit we are going to do, it is not the due diligence whatever we are going to do, or it is not the in-depth study whatever we are going to do at the branch level, but the documentation is what is going to save us in future. And I would also request you that at the time of giving reports, please write at least one sentence about the account you have verified. Along with the main audit report, please have an observation. You can give, you are at liberty and you have got all the freedom to give an observation list of the accounts you have verified, whether it is positive or negative or cautioning or forecasting, anything for that matter. Please give a report. That is only going to speak volumes. I tell you, when we take an audit report, if it is only an audit report without any observation list of the accounts you have verified, it will be taken as a naked audit report. It should be dressed up properly with the observation list. And when you take the observation list of the audit report, we will be able to immediately understand that the branch auditor has done due diligence. The same that the IFO team is also speaking about the branch audit. They say that he has not reported anything. He has only given the formal report to me. He has not reported anything. I do not know whether he has verified this particular account or not. So I have communicated to him. So if you have attached this observation list with him, he will not come to you to question your judgment. Take it from me, swear, it will not be happening at all because the chartered accountant's domain of judgment has not been questioned and cannot be questioned by any of the court of law or any of the regulators. So please do that. And again, exceptional reports, I have already told you, there are a host of exceptional reports available. At the pre-audit stage and as well as the post-audit stage, please take all the exceptional reports which are handy. I think in the CBS environment it will be discussed at length, and I would only request at the documentation stage, please file all the exceptional reports in your file. The TOD file, at the end of the day, 25th March, what are the transfers which is taking place between the accounts? Transfer scroll. It is an exceptional report. The EOD file, end of the day report file, the TOD file, the temporary overdraft file, the bills overdue report, all these things are exceptional reports which you have to take it on hand and file it in your file and find out whether anything has to be done in respect to the provisions or classifications of advances or your report, etc. Verify the system, upkeep, filing and attesting of exceptional reports. Then comes exceptional reports again, interest rate master report. I have told you about the failure interest check report, the third one. I told you that when the CBS is going to apply interest, there may be some interface issues and it will go without applying interest, and the moment the CBS has completed the application of interest, the system will throw out a report, an exceptional report that is called the failure interest check report, which are all the accounts CBS has failed to account or debit the interest. It may be in different terminology in different banks, but the report is there in all the software. So if you take that report, you will be able to immediately find out these are all the accounts where the account interest is not applied. And again, you have got the account classification report, watch category report, sensitive report, so many reports are there which you may please take it. And one more report I would like to tell you is the suspense jotting. The major fraud prone area is the suspense area. So suspense debits and suspense credits. Please take a copy of the suspense debit and suspense credit as on 31st March. Go to each and every entry regarding the longevity of the accounts in the suspense account, the abnormality of the figures in the suspense jotting, and the reasonability of the figures in the suspense jotting. So if you take all these things, your documentation is going to be perfect and make some analytical ratios. These analytical ratios are going to give a long input for you for the purpose of your decision making. You will be able to ask hundreds of questions within yourself and within the bank as to whether these particular ratios are having interrelationships. So we all know that we are experts in the analytical skills, so we will have to take these ratios and keep it on hand, and please work on these ratios so that we will be able to have a trigger on ourselves to whether we have done due diligence or not. Now coming to the certifications, only 2 minutes. Last slide. This is for the current failure which has happened in 2 times. So capital adequacy, what is more important in respect of capital adequacy is only with respect to the weightage and the classification of the assets. And as has been told by our chairman today, we have found out that certain cases the capital adequacy is just like that kept enormously more than what is actually required. The reason being, the capital adequacy statement when you draw, the outstanding balance of the LC or the non-fund exposure has to be reduced by the margin fixed deposit available. And the credit balance in the current account of the same borrower. If a borrower has got around 5 crores of rupees bank guarantee limit, it attracts 100% capital adequacy weightage. Whereas if he has got a credit balance in the current account as on 31st March, this can be net off and only the balance need to be provided for in the capital adequacy. So the weightage, the net weightage of advances has to be done only after giving due credit to the margins as well as to the credit available in the current account. So this is a very important area in respect of the capital adequacy. Now Basel III has come. I think that almost all the systems are attuned to take the Basel III capital adequacy. DSCGC, SCGC. DSCGC is a certification which is redundant but very important. Redundant. We have asked our banks, only 12 branches out of 3,300 branches are doing DSCGC business and they don't have anything now. So what we have to do at the time of certification of the DSCGC is that find out what is the opening balance of the DSCGC claim account lying in the liability side of the balance sheet. Find out the closing balance. If there is any difference, there is a movement in the DSCGC claim receipt account. So what is to be certified by us is that whether the DSCGC claim received account has got any recovery or not. If 100 rupees is the account and 65 rupees is funded by DSCGC, we will keep the 100 rupees intact and 65 rupees will be kept in the liability side of the balance sheet. So when a recovery is coming out of this 100 rupees, I have to share the recovery with the DSCG to the extent of the recovery I am making. If out of 100 rupees I am recovering all the 100 rupees, 65 rupees belongs to DSCGC. So that certification is asked by us. So get the accounts which are all coming under the DSCGC, get a copy of the accounts and keep it in file. In the case of SLR CRR, 12 odd date certification, very important. This Reserve Bank of India Lucas is a CRR SLR certification at a very important aspect. Even the cash balances, the bank balances will be differing. So please take the general ledger balance of the 12 odd dates. Keep it on your file. And there are systems and procedures to take this SLR-CRR report on a fortnightly basis or Friday basis to the by the bank. But we are asked to certify at the branch level whether the demand term liabilities or the short term liabilities are being properly depicted or not. We are not concerned with the DTL and STL. We are only concerned with the cash balance and the bank balance. So take the GLP of all the 12 dates and find out whether the cash balance and the bank balance is depicted properly or not. Now coming to PMRY Javar Roga Yojana, again our CMD was mentioning today with respect to the subsidies received, subventions received. It is all certified by us. Inadvertently or advertently we are giving lot of wrong certifications, I swear. Because in the case of the last minute they will come out, sir, one more certificate is there, on the way you please said. One for the road. So this certification will also be got from us. And inadvertently, without knowing the seriousness of the certificates, because of the branch management, the trust in the branch manager, because of the confidence we have got in the branch management, we will say tomorrow there will be a phone call from the head office. Sir, your certificate is wrong. We are sending the branch manager again to your house. Please give your other certificate. So we have got certificate, 3 certificates from the chartered accountant at the central office level, certifying the same figure 3 times. So, is it not opening a risk to you? Professional. It is a professional risk. So please try to emphasize on the certificates you give and never ever give the certificates without proper verification. You can take your own time for the giving certificate, whether it is a small certificate or a big certificate. So what happens is that in respect of this PMRY and your Javar Yoga Jona, there is a subsidy which is received. This subsidy will be kept as a back-end subsidy which is to be adjusted against the loan only after the term of the subsidy is over, 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, etc. So after the term is over, as per the conditions, if the account is going to become bad, this subsidy can be adjusted against the bad loans. Just because of the reason that the subsidy is not adjusted, our bank has made an excess provision of a huge amount. So the back-end subsidy, if you are going to this certificate, again this certificate is very important. We are certifying that this is the amount of subsidy received and this is properly being received and accounted. And we should, I would appeal that we should go one step ahead, whether the time limit for adjustment of this back-end subsidy is over or not. If it is over, you can ask the bankers to adjust it because that is going to be giving a great relief to the provisioning aspect and Ghosh committee and Jilani committee. We have seen several times that the branch manager himself will write the Ghosh committee, Jilani committee report and ask you to sign. Even I have seen that several branch managers are writing the LFR. One of the branch managers told me, said, March when you come, I will not give you any pressure, sir. LFR, I will fill the entire thing. You have to just come and sign. I said, sir, then why should I come? In Kerala, we have got something called Notuguli. You know Notuguli? You don't know about that? The chicken, when it is coming in the lorries, it will be coming. They will just put a plank of wood and the chicken will come one by one in row and it will be unloaded from the lorry and it will go to the godown. And it will go in the sequence. Nobody want to interfere in that. And the CATU people, that the unloading people will just stand, see whether it is properly happening and get the coolie. This is called no coolie. So I don't want no coolie. I will prepare my LFR. I will prepare my Jilani committee report. I will bestow my interest in preparing the Ghosh committee report. I don't want your yes or no. I will put yes or no. It is my prerogative. So please do that. And restructured accounts is a long way to speak about. I think my chairman will not agree to that. Time is up. Thank you very much for a patient hearing.